Howdy, ho, ho, my good humans. This is Unnecessary Rambling. I'm Brandon Sylvia, joined by Loon in the building. We are going to do a little bit of a questionnaire. We're assigning ourselves our gamer identification cards. We are building our gaming portfolio, and then we're going to be letting you in on the games that define us here today with a little questionnaire. I'll put it up on the screen so you can kind of see what it looks like right here, and we'll fill it in as we go along, just as some nice little, nice little visual effects. Loon, how are you feeling about the challenge that lies before you today? Are you ready to build your game and identification card?
Yeah, it was difficult in places to really land on it because obviously you're only getting to choose one thing, whether it be the game or like we have on, as they can see, it's not all just solely about games, it's characters as well. So man, it was difficult. It was difficult. And I think you said you left a few blank yourself because you're gonna
On the
make that
fly.
damning decision when we come to it. So best of luck
I was
right there.
struggling on some of this shit, man. So we'll see when we get there. We're gonna kind of off the cuff, as you know. This whole operation pretty much runs off the cuff here. But Loon, should we kick it off with the biggest one first, or should we? I mean, we'll kick it off with the biggest one first. No need to leave the people waiting. Obviously, everything will be time stamped, so jump around as you please. But favorite game of all time, the most important question on any gamer's identification card. What is your favorite game of all time?
It's it's fairly boring and probably known, but Pillars 2 for me. Pillars of Eternity
Yeah,
2.
that's your shit.
Oh my God. Don't get me wrong, Pillars of Eternity 1 is really, really good, but there's a massive it's like there's a background story in Pillars 1 that leads up to the explosive beginning of Pillars 2. And it's also it's a moment in gaming that I've never seen happen before. Never before, never since. And I think you can only get away with doing that in a CRPG. So for me, Pillars 2, favorite game of all time.
No surprise to everybody who has been listening to me for years. Mine is, of course, Resident Evil 2. 1998, the original, the OG, the tank-based controls, the still image backdrops, all that shit pumping into my veins. I love it so much. I am dying for that PlayStation 1 emulator to pop up so that I can run back another playthrough of Resident Evil 2, the OG, the way that God intended us to play Resident. No, I'm just joking. Obviously, play that remake if you're new to the franchise. But God, I love that classic game so much. But that is not a surprise to anybody listening. But this next one here, I think, is actually kind of a surprise to myself. But we'll kick it off first with you, Loon. What is your favorite series of games ever created?
Oh, it was really, really difficult to land on this because I think because what gets you more excited is new IPs, isn't it?
Yep.
Preferred to like sequels, whereas me, I'm so I love trilogies of stuff. Like I can't get enough of that. Like a trilogy, I feel like is the best way to tell a story. So I was thinking like, oh, the Mass Effect trilogies and Dragon Age as a series and stuff like this. And I just settled on Dark Souls as a trilogy. It's
Mm.
it's so damn good. But not only that, look how impactful it's been for all of gaming. You're talking, they brought difficulty. I know this isn't fair. They brought difficulty back to the forefront of gaming to make people be like, give people confidence again. It feels like not have them shy away from stuff. Adapting like, a Metroidvania-esque element into the game design and exploration of the world of if you can see something in the distance, you will go there. Or you open this door and oh my God, it's this area I came back like I was originally in 3 hours ago and stuff like that. So for me, yeah, that's to be Dark
Those.
Souls.
Yeah, I mean, you just look at the influence, the Souls like that's a genre that is, Yeah, that's proliferated the industry to kind of unparalleled degrees. Like there's really no other genre in the last 15 years, I would say, that has quite popped like the Souls-like. So
When Star Wars
undeniably.
is ripping off your skeleton of your game for moving forward, you know that you've done really damn good.
No shit, absolutely. For mine, I actually so I went and I remembered I had this question asked to me on my 1K Q&A. And so I go back to that video, or I try to go back to that video. It's blocked worldwide. The WWE blocked my video worldwide because I used
Oh,
like a 5 second clip of Batista bombing somebody or some shit. It's like, bro, that is criminal.
Triple H, come on, man.
I was so bummed. That was such a fun video, man. But I remembered I had this question in there. Favorite series of all time. And I went with Uncharted.
Mm,
And I think I stand by that because Grand Theft Auto, I'm not crazy about three. Three was so impactful and influential, like we're talking about. One of maybe the most influential game that's released in my lifetime. But I'm not crazy about GTA 3. I'm not crazy about GTA 4. I'm not crazy about GTA 5. I like all of them a lot, but I don't love every single one of those. GTA San Andreas, Vice City, I love those games more than almost anything else ever. But as a series, as a whole, not so much. Whereas Uncharted 1, love it. 2, love it. 3, like it a lot. 4,
mm.
absolutely love it. Lost Legacy, absolutely love it. So I look at it as a series. There's less inconsistency for me personally in the Uncharted franchise. So I'm going to go with Uncharted as my favorite series of all time. Now, this next one. This is one that I think I probably have the hottest take. Out of any take I have, this is probably my hottest take. So we're going to be talking about best sound.
Really?
Well, hold up. Let me lead into it. My hot take has nothing to do with my pick. My hot take
Okay.
has I'm not a video game soundtrack guy. Like I've never once listened to a video game soundtrack while not playing a video game. I know people
Oh,
who
dude. I've got a playlist on my channel.
that's what I was about to say. I know people who have like full on playlists where they listen to it working out, they listen
Yeah.
to it, just chilling. I've never once listened to a video game soundtrack other than when playing the video game. So I don't have those like soundtracks that just live with me in the back of my mind, except for one.
I gotta
Uh,
hear this. You gotta go first. Go on. I need to hear this.
It's obviously Resident Evil 2. It's just been played so many times in my head. So I'm gonna no need to really expand. I've talked about Resident Evil 2 at nauseum, but I've just played it so many times that I can hear I hear all that shit in my head. Of course, like a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, that's my favorite era of music ever, but it's not like a original soundtrack that I love. I love Days Gone soundtrack. I enjoy I mean, of course, like Final Fantasy VII. I mean, there are video game soundtracks that I like and I can acknowledge that they're good. El Paso Elsewhere, fantastic original score. Um, but I'm not a big video game soundtrack guy. I know it's a
That's
weird
interesting.
take.
I would have, yeah, especially Resident Evil 2. I don't hear anybody say that.
Really? Is that not a man?
For a soundtrack thing, like I'm thinking like not Uncharted. I mean, Uncharted has a decent soundtrack, but like
Yeah.
Last of Us and stuff like that has a
Yeah, it
really
does.
impactful soundtrack.
It does for sure.
I wouldn't have ever pinned that as your choice.
Well, it's not. It's because I'm not crazy about the Resident Evil. I love it, but it's all nostalgia. Like I was sitting here right now talking to you. I can only even think of a couple like songs from video games, or I can only think of a few soundtracks that even I remember even the slightest bit. And so I don't want to like lie to the people and say, oh yeah, like I just don't listen to video game music at all. So I don't
That's
know.
fair enough.
I know that that's probably the hottest take that I have is I'm not a video game music guy at all. I appreciate it while it's there in the moment. Don't get me wrong.
Mm,
Like it's like, oh
mm.
shit, this boss battle theme, the intensity is rising. Like I feel it then, and then I just never listen to it again, so I completely forget it.
God, that hurts my soul. So for me, it was like it's obviously a hell of a lot more important to me. Like when I hear like a song that's really, really good in a game, especially if it's like an original piece and it just catches it, I'm like, oh my God. And I add it to my gaming soundtrack playlist and I like shuffle that when I'm doing stuff and just it's so good just listening to that when grinding achievements as well when I'm not listening to like podcasts and stuff. And I had to ask you because I was like, is this like a singular song? Because it changes my vote, or is it like the entire list? And I think you said, yeah, obviously entire list. So I'll give a shout out to the singular song, and that is the Ashtray Maze song from Control. Oh my God, that thing kicked ass. Not only just as a song, as the way they incorporated that into the level, shifting the level design in time with the song beats and everything, and it was just one of the greatest moments in gaming. It was
Yeah.
just completely because you go there the first time and you can't go through the maze and everything, and then good old Artie helps you out. And it's just like, man, oh, you got some good taste in music, my man. Like, um, but no, for the overall soundtrack, for me, um, it would probably be Persona 3 Portable. It's the thing that hooked me into the series of Persona. Every single song in that game really hits you in the feels. And the ending song, after the whole journey is complete, you know it's good when it draws a tear to your eye. It was that level of song, and it was just like, yeah, this has to be the soundtrack.
That's so sick. Yeah, it's I mean, I understand because man, there's times where playing a game you'll hear something that just catches you, dude. I remember there was some song that came on like right towards the end of Days Gone. I don't remember much about it. I just remember cruising, riding my motorcycle up like this cliffside, and this song caught me. I was like, boy, immediately teared up. Just there are those powerful ass moments. Um, yeah,
The most powerful song, because now that you've touched on that, that I have to shout out, dude, the Red Dead 2. That's the way it is. Arthur's Ride.
dude,
Oh my God.
I hate to admit this to you right now. Red Dead Redemption 2, the game that I literally consider the greatest game of all time. I cannot picture that song in my head.
You're joking.
I really cannot.
Oh my God, dude.
I
Where it does all this, the flashes as to what you've done.
no, I remember the moment.
You
I
don't
don't
remember the song. Oh
I
my
do
God.
not remember the song at all. I don't know. Maybe is there
Man.
like some sort of diagnosis for that? Like audio
I
uh
don't know. That's crazy. Like that.
deficiency?
If you've retained the memory of that, that shocks me that you didn't retain like because that is like a huge like way of making that moment impactful. Like the song, the score hitting in at the perfect moment to hit you right in the feels, and it's just like, man, my heart was in my throat
Yeah.
during that thing. I was like, oh my God.
Well, that's actually a
Maybe I'm just a big wuss.
no, dude. Dude, I cried playing that game for sure. Yeah, I absolutely cried playing that game. But speaking of that game, Ed, I think it's a pretty seamless transition here to favorite protagonist. Favorite protagonist in video game history.
Come here, boy.
Yeah,
This is for
Arthur
you.
Arthur Morgan's my favorite. It's favorite is so weird because my favorite protagonist ever is probably Leon Kennedy, but it's like come on, man. In terms of actually acknowledging well written, well fleshed out backstory, incredible character arcs, great payoffs, like all of these things Resident Evil has never done for any of its characters other than fucking Wesker, which we'll talk about that.
Grease. Um, do you know what? I'm letting my emotions just run wild. He's not a particularly. I mean, he is well written, but it's just charisma, man. Dude, Dante from
Oh,
DMC
DMC.
is just him and Virgil, man.
Which
Just
version of Dante would you say? Like which one's the one that stands out? I want to have a good one for because I'm gonna grab some photos to throw in here for the B-roll for people watching at home. Which Dante would you want me to
oh
represent here?
God. I I don't particularly care for DMC one. DMC two doesn't exist. That's not it doesn't it's not a game that exists. It would have to be either three or five. I think five.
That's perfect.
He's
Withered.
so gruff. The comedy lands as well because he's still cocky, but he gets his ass handed to him. And
Absolutely.
I don't know, just all them trio, like Nero as well. Like people didn't really want too hot on him in DMC4. It felt like that whole Metal Gear thing where it was somebody that you're shoehorning in. Dude, Nero's badass. Like, come on, man, give me a DMC6. And that ending fight scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be
Went
Dante.
went so hard. Yeah, I guess I alluded to it a second ago. Favorite villain of all time, I gotta go Wesker. I I think Wesker is the most consistently interesting villain that I've ever seen throughout like a video game franchise, where he's incredibly, incredibly intelligent, but like pure to the core, to the bone, rotten evil. And like, regardless of why he is choosing to do what he does in any particular game, you always know his motives are impure. And I don't know, I just think there's something that's somewhat comforting about the consistency of like just a straight up bad guy is bad plot line. Like there's really no, you don't question much. Wesker, bad guy. And
No,
yeah,
he's definitely up there, and it felt. I mean, even to this day, like as good as these new Resident Evil games, it feels like there's a void there that they've never been able to fill with him. He was so damn important to that series.
he's the best character throughout all of Resident Evil. I mean, in Code Veronica, incredible, incredible Wesker story there. Even RE1 from the get-go, Wesker has been the most crucial, interesting character throughout the entire plot line. All roads lead back to Wesker, always in Resident Evil. They've constantly made him the most interesting character. So the other one I was thinking of was Elusive Man from Mass Effect 2. Fucking super,
Mm.
shady behind the scenes, pulling the puppet strings. That shit is fascinating. But Wesker is just I mean, the outfit, the Matrix kind of vibe with Wesker, the glasses, like so iconic. Gotta go Wesker.
You're not gonna know who mine is because you've not played the game. But I did just send you a picture.
Okay.
Um, his name is Aeofas, and he is one of the gods of Pillars of Eternity.
Okay.
And oh my God, like I need to say this. I need to mention this. I can't keep this under wraps because it's so powerful
Is
of
it a
a thing.
spoiler?
Uh,
It's okay if it is. I'll just put up a spoiler tag.
I guess yeah, it would probably be a spoiler.
Perfect.
But in Pillars of Eternity 1, you are you're going around and you're trying to figure out what is making people be born without souls, basically. That's the premise of the story. Like why is this happening to these people? And because in the Pillars of Eternity, when you die, your soul gets taken to another like existence, and then you're basically rechurned. It's called the will. You're just basically put back into the grindstone so that the world can continue functioning as it currently functions because That's how the gods gain their power, is how many like devotees of them go back into the will and then come back out and stuff like that. AFS doesn't give a shit about that. He is one renegade boy. And the craziest thing about this is that you have this hub base in Pillars of Eternity 1, and that's the mud, and you just see pillars, and you just think, oh, pillars of eternity. That's kind of like funny. Dude, that's his fingers. That's
I
the guys. He's underneath the earth. You go burrowing down beneath your like keep, and you see like an eye, and you're like, that's a bit weird. And then when you open up the map, it's mapping it out level by level, showing that there's this dead, dormant god underneath of your home base. And that's in Pillars of Eternity too. That's the opening, is that he wakes up and just goes off wandering because he's like, screw this. Like, I don't, the gods are corrupt in the way that they function. Humanity something needs to change. This guy just gets up, kills everybody, and just walks across the ocean and stuff and just does his thing.
well,
And his motives are just so damn crazy. And he is just a colossal giant.
that's the thing. Looking at this image, like there's characters walking on him, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's like,
And he's not like inherently he you meet him like multiple times and he's just like, I'm doing this.
yeah,
And like you can either try and stop me or you just embrace it. Like just this needs to happen. Because like the gods and pillars are like really complex and fickle as well. Like they don't like each other. Like they got into an argument and one of them threw a moon at the planet out of a tantrum, and one of the gods basically took the brunt of it, and it hit him so hard he lost his godhood. He no
Jesus.
longer became a god. It took that because he didn't want the whole world to end. And this is like all these other gods are like unite against AFS because they don't want him to break the will. And that's why I'm saying it's going to be so interesting in Avowed because you didn't have this like knowledge of like that's the will and the gods gain their power. Are the gods still
Ooh,
in Avowed?
that'd be sick to see that motherfucker pop up. That big ass
He's
dude
so fucking. I don't think you could. The guy is
in a real
he's
world.
so like he's walking through the oceans and it's brushing his knees. Like he's that tall.
That
Like
would be
you're thinking
so
like
sick.
that's just crazy, man. You're talking like Shadow of the Colossus, Shadow of Aeothex.
Oh, dude, yeah, that would dwarf Shadow of the Closet. That would be crazy to see that pop up, even if it's just for like one little segment or something. That'd be so sick.
But that yeah, I'm sorry, like I had to get that in. Like Pillars is so damn good, and so many people have missed out on that. And I know that no, like so many people aren't going to touch it. So giving that little bit of thing out there.
So we move into best story. This is one where I have two wrote down that I do not know which I'm picking. My two options are either Metal Gear Solid 2 or The Last of Us 1. It's one of
Ooh,
those two. And I I think I might just be letting nostalgia kind of blind me a bit here. I think I'm gonna go Metal Gear Solid 2 in the moment.
I don't think that's a bad take at all. You
I
think of how
mean,
powerful his storytelling was about also predicting the future and
prophecy,
stuff.
dude. It's
Yeah.
biblical in nature. It's crazy. It is prophetic to a unparalleled degree. And I know I say unparalleled degree too much. I just that hit me in my brain. I gotta swap out different words there. But it is legitimately unparalleled. Touching on free will, dabbling in AI a little bit, even though, that's the thing that's so cool is like he doesn't use specific terminology. He's not talking social media in a very specific sense, but it's alluding to social media. It's alluding to AI.
Yeah.
And you're talking about a game that came out in 2001, so a story that was probably written early 2000, late 1999. You know what I mean? Like this is years before the internet would really become what it is now. And yeah, it was, and I mean, just the actual plot, you know, of, well, for one, the balls that it took to throw the
Mm,
player into you're accustomed to Snake, to throw the player into the shoes of Raiden, who is essentially kind of like this rookie bumbling idiot for a little bit of the game, and like viewing the world through his eyes and feeling kind of hopeless and helpless, and like that's kind of the through line for the entire game. Just there's so much connective tissue there, and like I don't know, the way that it would construct this narrative about how the powers that be can manipulate you through these social interactions, and almost alluding to some Operation Mockingbird vibes. It was, I don't know, it was really powerful, just thinking about the way that future generations will be manipulated in the same way that previous generations were, but in almost a more like not free, but like it's almost totally bleak nihilism 101, where it's like no matter how much access we're given, no matter how much knowledge we're given, at the end of the day, like you still can be manipulated at any given time. Because that's the crazy, and I don't want to go off on a full tangent here, but we have infinite knowledge today in this digital
Mm.
age. And it seems that people are manipulated more now than they've ever been, which I know it's probably not true, but it feels that way. It's like, how can we have this much knowledge, yet we still have essentially digital cults where it's like you believe almost everything that this group believes. And to tie it back into games, it's crazy to even see it with like console wars, where it's
Mm.
like people will not criticize Xbox if they're Xbox fans. People will not criticize PlayStation if they're PlayStation fans. It's like, dude, these are billion-dollar corporations. Criticize the shit out of these fuckers. Like, I don't know. Regardless, it is wild to just think about this process of being unable to unplug from decade old brainwashing tactics that are still being utilized effectively. And I don't know, it's a story you could just go on and on about.
For me, I think the most impressive thing is how he landed it so accurately from back then. It's like untainted, like
Yes.
perspective, and yet he still got it almost nailed on to a T. Like that just shows so much foresight and stuff. And you've seen it with Death Stranding as well.
Yeah.
Like people are like, well, this is a boring game. I think that you're going to find that's probably going to be the future. Like obviously, we're not talking about world-ending things, but
Right.
the amount of reliance on delivery services, even now, even for myself, like relying on Amazon and stuff for physical games, I can't I can't think of the last time I ever went into like a standard game shop. Secondhand game shop, like yeah, that's different. I'm talking like the equivalent of like a GameStop and going in and buying a game day one new. I think the last time I did that was Resident Evil 7,
Wow.
and that was
2017.
that exactly. So that is the last time I went in person to pick it off the shelf, take it to the thing, and have a human scan that and give it back to me.
I will be going to pick up Stellar Blade and Sand Layer today.
So
But I'm ancient.
what I'm saying is I am the problem. I am
Well,
pushing Death Stranding.
it's even crazier thinking about, and we can run through this, but it's even crazier thinking about that took place, what, a few months before a global pandemic
Mm,
overtook society, and we were all relying on these fucking digital or delivery services. So just, yeah, timing, fortuitous, prophetic. He's a savant. He's a savant. And listen, for anybody who's just stumbling upon the channel and thinking I'm glazing up Hideo Kojima without any sort of I hate Death Stranding, but you gotta respect the storytelling. But I think MGS2 is on it. Just in terms of thought-provoking video games, it's the game that, like, when I finish, like, I have a buddy who's a huge Metal Gear fan, and we just text like paragraphs back and forth to one another about what it means. And he has all these like way more complex theories, but just as a fucking ape brain human to be able to process Metal Gear Solid
internet
2.
bad.
But like not to keep going, but like everything bad, no matter what we're given, no matter how much knowledge we have, it will be weaponized against us. And that's like so fucking
Because we're our
spooky.
own enemy. That is why.
That's great. What's your favorite story, man? My bad.
Red Dead Redemption 2 for me.
There you go.
Um, don't really have all that much to say on it. It's just a really, really strong Western.
It's the best ever.
And don't get me wrong, I liked Red Dead Redemption 1, but just it doesn't hold a candle to 2.
No, not story wise.
Not anything wise, I don't think. Like
Yeah.
um I get it, game like it won game of the year, whatever itself. It's so damn good in every single aspect. I don't think there's a single thing Red Dead 2 does wrong for me.
No.
So, and that obviously extends to the story. Story is
10 out of 10. No doubt about it. This next category we have down here is have not played but want to play. And I don't know, man. Like this is a really tough one for me. It's not tough. It's just like I don't really have many games that I so I was thinking Yakuza. That's probably like the biggest one for me where I really, really, really deeply in my soul want to play it, but have not played. But I think I'm gonna go with an off the wall one because it's one that like I've wanted to play for a long time, but I literally just had no way of playing it. And so I'm hoping that with the
ooh,
emulator,
interesting.
yeah. And so I'm hoping with the emulator situation, and being able to access these different regions of content that were previously inaccessible in the West. But my game is Wild Rings. It is a Xbox exclusive, original Xbox exclusive wrestling game that only released in Japan. And it's supposedly like you have multiple different
Sorry, before you, what was the name of it? So I can have a look.
wild rings,
Wild
WILD rings.
Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can get
And
like, okay.
yeah, so you have multiple different fighting styles. Like you can be a wrestler, you can be a jiu-jitsu guy, you can be a Muay Thai guy, you can be a kickboxer, a boxer. And so you have all these different fighting styles you can pick between. The only thing is I don't think there's any like real career mode, season mode, or anything like that. It just seems like a bunch of different, gauntlet challenges, battle royale sort of thing, or not battle royale, but kind of Royal Rumble style events. Yeah, battle royals. I just was.
Yeah, it has a tournament mode, exhibition match, title match. Oh no, Champions Road. That
Oh,
must be
okay,
a story
cool,
mode.
cool, 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 perfect.
And the hell is that saying? League match.
Yeah, it
Hmm.
looks so interesting. It looks, I'm not saying it'll be the greatest thing ever, but I've played literally every wrestling game that I want to play at this point, other than some of those region locked games. You know what I mean? So it's just like there's a few of those region specific releases that never came out over here that I really want to get my hands on. And it's not like, you can't buy a copy of it and just play it on a regular Xbox. You got to have a Japanese Xbox.
Oh, it looks so fun. That just looks
Yeah.
so early WWE.
Definitely, dude. Definitely.
Oh, awesome.
What you got?
Um, it's funny because you've said about that obviously being locked on a system. It's the same for my pick, Metal Gear Solid
Nice.
4. Deshackle that baby,
Oh, I get what you're saying.
please.
Okay, okay, okay.
Deshackle that off of the PS3. Get this second volume of Metal Gear out. Put Metal Gear Solid 4 in it and let me play that on my Xbox.
So you've played one, two, and three?
Yeah, Peace Walker, Ground Zeroes, 5.
Oh, so you're a big Metal Gear guy.
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
And it
So
hurts my soul that it's stuck on a PS3.
so you had to jump to five before playing four. Yeah, that sucks. That definitely sucks. Not that five is. Go
I
ahead.
I think I have like you was talking about hot takes. I think Metal Gear Solid 5 is one of the best games I've made. Like, I really enjoy
We need to jot this down. A hot take sort of trial. A hot take. We'll both deliver off like five hot takes or something. Because that is definitely hot. I do not.
it. Yeah,
It's objectively like well made, great stealth open world action adventure game with so much freedom and so many possibilities. But yeah, man, that story fell so flat for me.
I love it. But yeah, for me, Metal Gear Solid 4. It's kind of a cheat because I did end up because I bought a PS3 like 4 years ago. I've played about 2 minutes of it because the controller didn't function.
Hmm.
So technically, I have played it. I've not. I've not played it.
Right. No.
I got into the thing and then was like, oh, this has like really like the buttons don't work. Amazing. Thanks. And
Yeah,
didn't end up replacing it because they're so hard to get a hold of now and very expensive. So I just accepted defeat.
I get you. Um, so they kind of tying straight into our next one, a game you love that everyone hates. Not obviously everybody doesn't hate MGS5. MGS5 is beloved by most people. I think I'm actually the odd man out on that one. But yeah, game that you love that everyone hates. And in terms of like disparity between critical reception to what I think, I would have to say Alpha Protocol. I think that's like around a 6 out of 10. Uh,
Oh, yeah, that's a
yeah,
good one.
I think it's like around a 660 on Metacritic. To me, that's like a 85 plus. I fucking love, love, love that game. So, Alpha Protocol, Obsidian RPG, getting to play as a spy, one of the only third person modern day spy games on the market. So, and it's now available on, I believe, GOG and I think the Epic Game Store as well. Hopefully, come to Steam, maybe Game Pass as well sometime soon.
Yeah,
What
re-release that up and fix it up a little bit. Oh, dude, I'd drop 60 for that again. Take it.
Yeah, yeah. I'll support it just to say, hey, we want more of this shit. Please,
Mm.
please, please, God, please give me something that's not a fantasy RPG.
Oh, see, now that you pointed out, like that would have been a good shout. My mind wanders as well because I'm a really big fan of like Dragon Age 2, even though people really hate it. But I can appreciate it for what it is. But
Good story.
yeah, very important to the lore as well, which is why it is very close to my heart. Like they needed to get that like portion of history and what was going on there out of the way because it's very important. But for me, probably Lords of the Fallen 2014.
Oh
No one
wow.
loved it. No one loved that game. No one had any appreciation for it. It got universal hate, and it felt like me and this guy called Lobos, who's like a big Souls guy, are the only people that seem to enjoy it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I Dude, this next one that we have down, I struggle with this one because
I
I don't
didn't.
I don't really fall into this camp. Like I don't really hate things. I can't tell you the
Mm,
last game I've played that I'm just like I hate it. You know what I mean? If something doesn't click with me, I never I don't that feeling is kind of foreign to me.
yeah. I don't think it falls that like extreme for me. It's more in the line of I can see everybody else loving it and I wish I could love it, but I don't like it. I
Okay,
can't,
cool.
I can't, I can't. I've tried so many, like 3 times I've tried to get into this and I just can't. It doesn't click. I don't enjoy it.
We're on a similar page, but not quite as much. So mine is one that I've just never really put any effort into, and I don't really have any interest ever in putting effort into it. It's just not like it's not appealing to me at all. But it's not like hatred because I don't know. I played a little bit, and I'll go ahead and talk about it. Persona.
Elden Ring? Oh, oh,
Yeah, it did.
oh,
Like
oh.
I know, I know. I'm sorry. I played a little bit of Persona 5, and I was just like, yeah, I get why people like it. It's I just like tonally, it's not even in my not anywhere near something that's interesting to me. But I have no hatred for it whatsoever. Like I could not care. That's the thing. It's total apathy. Like I could not possibly care less about it in any way, shape, or form. But like totally acknowledge it's probably fucking great for the people who love. Like there's no way people are talking about it the way they are, and it's not great. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's I I I don't know. Maybe I just don't really I don't hate shit all that often. I don't even really like dislike things that much because as soon as I start to dislike something, I just quit playing it. So I don't have like a
Yeah.
burning
I
fucking.
definitely voice my opinions a lot more stronger than you do. Because
eh,
I voiced my disappointment with Starfield, and you seem to be a lot more lighter with your criticisms,
I love
even
it.
if it, yeah,
So it's like, but there's Starfield. Like I played 70 hours, finished Starfield. Like if I love a game, I'm gonna see it through. When I don't like a game, I just put it down. But I don't like take anything, harbor any ill will for it after that. Like even Death
no, yeah,
Stranding. Like I was thinking about throwing Death Stranding in here, but it's like I don't know. I don't fucking hate Death Stranding. It's just boring as shit to me. But hate it. Like hate is and I understand I'm probably being too semantic with the question here, but it's like I was trying so hard to think about what can I
trying to be the
possibly
good
hate.
guy, paint me as the bad guy, and I'll
No,
lean
but
into
it's just the
that.
term. It's like, what does that mean? How could I possibly
Yeah,
hate a video game? Like it's totally a luxury, non-essential. Like I don't give a shit if I don't like something, I'm just done and it's cool. No hate. What's your pick though?
I hate. No, obviously the way I phrased it this was my mindset of it. Sekiro, man. Sekiro
Really?
Shadows Die. I can't. I don't think me and a friend who are like really big Souls likes were so pumped for that game. And I remember playing it on the night of release at midnight, and I was like, huh, this isn't what I expected. And then I got about 2 hours in, and I was like, I don't like this. And I got 3 hours in, and I was like, I really, really don't like this. And I stopped. And I picked up a few months later after it sweeps loads of awards and stuff. I was like, maybe I missed something. Tried it again, didn't like it. And I think it was about a month and a half back. I tried it because I try and give games like free chances, usually, for me personally. I just can't. I can't get into it. It's not what I enjoy from it. The combat is really, really, really damn good. The environments are really damn good. Like every part of that game is like you said, it's not hatred, it's not that it's not a bad thing. It's just it's not
Couldn't
what
get.
I want from that. When I play
Yeah.
a Souls like kind of game like that, I want the combat the way it is, but I also want options and like weapons. That's a big draw of like rounding a corner and finding a new armor set, finding a new spell, finding a new this, that, and then running into these. That gameplay loop is so damn good. Whereas for Sekiro, I just couldn't.
That's so funny because that's actually something that would draw me. Because Sekiro is the one Souls game I actually want to play, which I know some people say it's not a Souls game, but like that's the one game of the From Software lineage that I actually do want to check out because it seems a little bit more Ninja
Yeah,
Gaiden-esque. And that is way more appealing to me, like a seafood type of punish where it's like straight up you versus this motherfucker in front of you. No min-maxing, no skill upgrade. Like here's your sword, learn the encounters and try to get through it that way. Like I love, love, love that. That's my favorite style of difficulty. When the difficulty I actually don't like is more the RPG difficulty, like leveling and okay, now I'm gonna get this, sword and I'm
it
gonna apply upgrades to it. And it's like, golly, let me just try to learn this fucking boss.
it was also the fact that it's so hard to play the style that I like, which is dodging. I don't parry and I don't block. I dodge is the way I
Mm.
play Souls games, and that's why I like. Because I think one of the yeah favorite boss fight, which will tie perfectly into that, which I'll delve into, but having that kind of flow, whereas Sekiro is all about reading and parrying and stuff, and I just yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah. I hear you, man. All right. Well, let's go ahead and rapid fire run through a couple of these bad boys. Let's I forget how many questions there are on here. Um, best art style. This I really struggled with.
Mm.
I so I'm thinking Control, BioShock Infinite, Cyberpunk 2077, Killer 7, Planet of Lana, and I'm like, all of those are fantastic. Love, love, love. But the one that pops out, and I know that this is a simpleton pick, Ultimate Spider-Man, PlayStation 2,
Mm.
original Xbox. I think that is like the game that has aged 0 days in 20 years. Like that game still could release today and it would immediately jump off the screen at you. Killer 7 kind of fits in that vein too, but I think that Ultimate Spider-Man just stands the test of time visually. I really do think if they did a Game Pass big drop of Edge of Time and Shattered Dimensions and Ultimate Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 and like it clears the room. It clears the room. It still looks so stunning today. Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man is going to be my pick for best art style. Those that cell shaded, comic shaded, just this comic book brought to life, man. Fucking beautiful game.
I don't think I've ever really mentioned this game before, so this will probably be a new one. The ending like picture I used as my background for like 2 years on Xbox because the art style was that damn good. And it's Ori and the Blind Forest.
That's a great pick.
Really, really love that game. So damn beautiful and breathtaking visuals.
So like I don't even know what I
It's
don't
just
even
cozy.
yeah, but it also is like it pops, it's shiny. It's like kind
Mm.
of I don't know, man. It's got a striking art style. Hey, what did you had Sekiro for a game you hate that everyone loves, correct?
Hmm.
And then you a game you love that everyone hates. You put down what?
Lords of the Fallen
Lords of the
2014.
Fallen. Right. Jotting
It's
these
okay.
in.
Everyone else forgot it as well. There's nothing.
All right. So now we move on to favorite ending in a game of all time. Another one where I have multiple options sitting here that I don't know what to pick. I'm thinking MGS2, Plague Tale 2, Mafia 1, Last of Us 1, or Mass Effect 2. Those are the five I've
There's
said.
only one answer from that. That's the last one.
Is that your answer?
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2?
How everything ties into that ending.
It's crazy.
It's if you choose to not value your companions, you will fail. If you choose to listen and learn the strengths and weaknesses of your companions, you will succeed. Very, very good story and very good ending.
Did you finish Plague Tale Requiem?
No, I did Innocence is the first one, right?
Yeah.
I got
I'll
about halfway through Requiem.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna go Plague Tale Requiem. I'm not gonna say why. That
I mean, it was
that's
alluding to something really interesting.
oh boy. Oh boy.
So it's
Indeed.
just one of them. Yeah, it's just one of them things where, interest peters off. It was a little bit too slow for
Oh,
me
it's yeah,
in parts. So I
I
was like,
get it. I
I'll
totally
come
get it.
back to this when I'm in the mood.
Because that's one of those games where like it expands massively beyond the scope of the first one, and I could see that being off-putting to a lot of people. But man, when you get to that ending, it is oh my God. Like it is all time. Like I can't, yeah, I can't even say anything more about it. Favorite boss fight. So this one to me, once again, multiple different thoughts run through my head. I want to shout out the gate Final Fantasy 16, just the entire game. The entire game is an all-time great boss fight. It's nonstop god tier boss fights. But when thinking about one specific one, I couldn't really nail it down. The final boss in Dragon's Dogma 2, fucking raw. So, so sick. Standing in between those horns and just daggering that big ass dummy in the head. Flying up and like getting launched, and something I didn't even do. I didn't even know you could do this. There's like cannons up on that
Yeah,
ledge, and you can just run up and
yeah.
bow, bow, start blasting him. But you have to like time it perfectly. You're riding him, and he'll like launch you off, and you have to like perfectly, symmetrically line up, land down. Dude, that I didn't even know that was there. I just spent like 20 minutes just daggering him in the head and drinking potion after potion. Um, Psychomanus MGS1, like
Yeah.
the way it plays with the entire concept of the PlayStation 1 at that time with the memory card and the changing the controller ports, like God tier. But for me, I have to go with Mr. Freeze from Arkham City.
Ooh, ooh. Yeah.
Dude,
Got
all of
strong
your
picks all around
all
for
of your
mentions.
abilities, man. You can tackle it from multiple different angles. It's the one mission that I feel like really embodies becoming the Bat, like fully embracing and taking on what the Batman actually can be. And yeah, that's such a sick ass boss fight. So Mr. Freeze, for me.
Mine's so boring in comparison.
Hit me.
It's a Dark Souls free boss,
Okay.
and that's what I was like linking it in with like rolling is the way I play them games. It's called the Dancer of the Boreal Valley
Dancer of the what?
of the Boreal Valley,
Okay.
Boreal. And if there's ever a boss fight that I could probably do blindfolded, given enough like practice, it would be that because every single the soundtrack is linked to its attacks. So when it attacks is when the sound cue will happen. So you just get it's just like ballet almost. It's just purely poetic, and you just get once you're in that flow, like a new game plus Dark Souls 3 like 8 times. Each time, obviously, it gets more and more challenging. That was every single. I didn't get hit from like New Game Plus 2 onwards in that boss fight. Flawless every single time.
That's so
Like
sick.
it's, I just can't like. I know it's boring because it doesn't have like much story associated with it, but it's such an important, powerful boss, and how it like clicked with me is just like, holy shit,
Yeah, dude,
this is
that's
amazing.
sometimes the mechanics are all that fucking matters.
Mm. Close second would be like Virgil, probably for me.
Virgil, for
Any encounter with Virgil
yeah,
in DMC is just fucking blast.
definitely. Childhood game loon. This one for me is a pretty easy one. NBA Live 2006. This is the game that I just have the most memories playing with buddies. It's not a ton I can really say about NBA Live '06. I love the freestyle maneuvers. Press L1 in circle with Reggie Miller, and he's just draining threes. He barely gets up off the ground, just planted, dropping threes. It's like a cheat code. You could go and he was a he was a free agent. And so you could start up a season. Say you pick the Heat, your Shaq, your Dwayne Wade, and then you go and pick up for your three guard, or for your small forward, you go and pick up Reggie Miller. And so you now have a dude, Dwayne Wade, going inside, Shaq's down there as well, and then you draw all the attention inside, kick out to Reggie Miller wide open, L1 circle, just draining, draining. Yeah, that I man, so many fun memories just playing that with like my core group of friends before games got like too, and we'll talk about that in a second, but before games got like too competitive and like money was involved and shit, NBA Live '06 was just like straight up childhood bliss. What you got?
Um, Mine would probably be the original Lego Star Wars game.
Nice.
Like, I can think of like a sports game that probably resonated as a kid, just like you, and other games that had like elements, but just remember being just sucked in and blown away that that even existed.
It's crazy. The concept of it is so crazy with Lego
Yeah.
Star Wars. Just all those playable characters and different worlds and the humor that they bring to those games or the humor that they bring to those stories.
Ex in a way where nothing was spoken in them original games. It was all done through emotions and body movements and stuff, and just stupid. It was just so good, so damn good.
Absolutely. Relaxing game. We move on to our pick for the most relaxing game. For me, this is a very, very recent one, but man, I was so chilled out while playing those Telltale games. I played through the full Walking Dead series this year. That was like, man, I love that style of game so much. To have that on the rotation, like, just total wind down. And any choose your own adventure game really kind of fits this bill, but I think Telltale are so excellent at it. But it's the simplicity where it's easy enough to just zone out with, but I'm invested in making the right choices. So I'm able to stay mildly engaged so I can like take my brain off of the things that like I don't want it to be on, but I'm still zoned out. I'm still chilling, but I'm also engaged. Like it's just the best blend for relaxation for me. But what's your pick, Lou?
Football Manager, man.
Yeah,
Just every single time you see me on Xbox, if it's not beating something, it'll be sitting in Football Manager. It's
for
just
sure.
infinitely replayable for me. It's just second nature. I don't even need to think about stuff when playing that. And it's because it makes me laugh as well. Because when I say that to people, they like look into it. They're like, "Dude, this is just like spreadsheet simulator. What? How are you finding?" And it's just like, "Dude, I can switch my mind off playing that because you just get so accustomed to it, and you're just able to glaze over the information and just pick without even having to 100% dedicate your brain to it. And you're just like, okay, yep, that'll work. Train him in that kind of position. All right, his average rating is down and his passes per 90 and everything. And it's just, yeah, it just clicks. So good.
I'm about to talk to a game or talk about a game that fits specifically in that exact same wheelhouse that you're talking about there. Next up, we have, and it's not, it'll be the next entry where I talk about that, but we have Stressful Game, the most stressful video game for you personally. I talked about it a second ago, but I'm gonna go NBA 2K, and that's the weird distinction where NBA Live '06, I think of just childhood bliss, where it's like straight up just playing it with actual friends, where there's no hard feelings, there's absolutely no money on the line, there's no like man, but whenever I got to high school, we would have huge NBA 2K tournaments because NBA 2K kind of took over and became the dominant simulation basketball game. It
Yeah.
probably around 2010, 2011, really in that PS3 era or 360 era. Um, and when it got to the point like my junior, senior year, it was pretty fucking chaotic because I lived right next to the school. We would have huge tournaments and we would be betting like $50, $100 a game. And like, it would be a thing where you're, at times fist fighting motherfuckers because someone cheated or this, that, and the other. And it's just, dude, it was, it 2K from that point on became like I progressively got less and less interested in it, especially because we did all this shit couch competitive, couch co-op, whatever you want to call it. I guess couch competitive. But when it got to the online, I was like, dude, I'm not playing you guys online for money. Never, ever, ever will I play you online for money with that having to depend on internet to that degree for actual money. Absolutely not. But yeah, dude, I've seen like people literally get the shit beat out of them for losing a game or for winning a game of 2K or what, whatever the case may be. Just 2K causing actual real fights. Batshit crazy. So most
Exactly.
stressful game.
GTA isn't the one that causes the damage in the youth today. It's 2K.
Right. Right. And that's the thing. Like when I think of stressful, I think of games that because there's no real world stakes in Grand Theft Auto. You know what I mean? There's no real world stakes in like most games, like even a Sekiro or Sifu. Like Sifu doesn't really stress me out to some crazy degree. It's hard. It's not stressful. To me, I
Mm.
think of like real world
Something
additional
something needs to be on the line. like you said. That money
Yeah.
just adds that extra thing. So it's not technically the game, it's the way that the game is being played.
Right, but it's so fucking hard too because if you're playing against people who are like really, really, really good at a sports game or at any competitive game, it is brutal on a different level, man. Like it is so hard. And you'll sit there and you got a guy who he runs this specific offense and you're having to figure out you're literally going into practice just running different defense strategies, trying to mimic his offensive strategy and figuring out ways to stop it while you're playing on Hall of Fame through practice, just trying to figure out what exactly it is that he's doing. It becomes like it became way too overboard. I was like, this is just like not even mildly fun to me.
Ooh. I don't know. I get a bit of itch from that. Like that's what was like fueling my Gwent for the longest time.
Oh, it's you
Knowing
definitely
that people probably envied coming up against me.
yeah.
So yeah.
No, it's dude, it's addictive. It really is. It's a very addictive process, but I don't know. It just kind of comes to a point where it's like, man, this is and probably another big thing is I had a couple friends who were just way better than me. Like way better than me.
Mm.
So it's like I can't play with y'all. Like I can't bet money against you. I'll
I'll just give you the money now, yeah.
exactly right. You want to fucking you want me to cash app it to you now? No. What's your most stressful game?
Um, it it's probably it's so difficult because, like you said, the closest thing that I could think of was me genuinely trying to attempt Pathfinder Kingmaker on unfair. Oh my God. Oh my God. I like maybe not stressful. It's so defeating and just no matter what you do, it doesn't matter. You just can't progress out of the tutorial. It's all based on just getting the perfect rolls, and it's just I sat there for 2 hours just reload, save, reload, save, reload, and it's just like I don't care.
Yeah. Well,
I really don't care.
a super hard game can be stressful for sure. No doubt about it.
Yeah, because you finally get that roll right, and then it's like okay, that's one roll. There's three people in this fight. I need to get two more perfect rolls. And
Yeah.
then you flounder them other rolls, and it's just like I'm back to square one. I have to reload the save, and it's just like, oh my God. So
Because
yeah.
when I think about it, like, dude, there have been moments where I've been playing a hard game and like I'll legit feel myself start to get like hot. Like
Mm,
my actual temperature
yeah.
will be rising. And I'm like, so I mean, yeah, I guess what I'm saying earlier, I don't even know if I necessarily agree with because like you actually can have like real world negative effects on your
Yeah.
body just by playing something
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah, I've had
brutally
like
challenging.
yeah, where you get sweaty hands and yeah, and soul stuff when you oh my God, when you're just like, can I just get a bonfire, please? It feels like it's been 2 years. I need a checkpoint. I need to save this progress. I need to bank this money. And it just doesn't come. And then you get pounded around the next corner and it's just like, okay, thanks.
Totally, dude. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. And like I'm very at this point in my life, my whole entire MO is stay as calm as possible, manage anger as best as you can. Calm as possible, manage anger as best you can. Like so yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Game you always come back to. Now, this is the one talking about earlier when you were talking about Football Manager. SmackDown versus Raw 2006 is that for me. It is the GM mode in that. It's just like a sim feature. I'm just managing, making moves, making trades, adding free agents, adding storyline writers, picking the storylines. Like, and you can throw in SmackDown versus Raw '06 or '07 in there. They both kind of fit that they scratch that similar itch for me. But I think I'm going to go NFL 2K5 actually because I return to it more frequently. So NFL 2K5 I literally play every single year. And it's the best football game ever made, bar none.
Mm, you mean
What you
American football, right?
right, yeah. Best NFL game ever made.
Gonna say. Because the best football game ever made is Rocket League, I think you'll find. And that is the game that I come back to.
There you go.
Oh my God, what a game, honestly. Who could have thought driving around a car and hitting a ball could be so damn fun?
Boy.
And I could have gone with Football Manager there because I've probably returned to it more, but I was like, I need to shake it up a bit. So I'll stay in the football realm and just have it with cards. But yeah, it's something that I return to and probably play it, if not daily, every other day. Like because
Yeah.
they're so short, the matches, like 5 minutes.
Hop in, hop out.
So yeah, you get like two matches done. It's like, okay, that's a nice, you know, palate cleanser. On to the next thing.
Our next category here is guilty pleasure. Does Rocket League fall into that range for you? Or
No,
I feel weird about guilty pleasure. Like I don't even really believe in the concept. But I mean, I guess I'll play along here because
I kind of do.
do you?
Yeah, because I would. This isn't the pick, but this is like one that was up there, like Arisen and stuff, and Elix. Like they're fundamentally bad games. I can't dispute that, but I love them. They're just a guilty pleasure. Like I can look at them and be like, every aspect of this game is arse, but I like it. It just
I feel
speaks
like
to me.
I'm just being way too semantic with my entire thought process behind this because like I recognize those games are bad too, but and I like them as well. Or like Elix 2, I really enjoyed, but I would give it like a 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, whatever. But it's like still a fun game to me. But I would never feel guilty for playing it, and that's once again being way too yeah. I get you. I get you being way too semantic with my picks.
Destroying the fun.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't know. I usually don't do all this shit. I'm not such a fucking I don't know.
He's
But my
rebelling. He's rebelling.
I picked The Sims on this one because this is the only game
Oh,
this is the only game I've ever played in my life where I've actually felt guilty for it ever. And that was because just toxic, masculinity growing up. It was like this is a game for chicks. And I loved
ooh,
it.
I bought a new table. No, Sims is amazing.
Oh, The Sims is the shit, dude. I couldn't understand why my buddies didn't want to play with me. I loved that
Come
shit
on,
so
play
much.
Dollhouse, guys. Come on.
Dude, but for real though, I mean, like, I don't know. I thought The Sims was so fun. I never understood
Hmm.
why, but hey, it is what it is. I probably made fun of them for some wildly toxic shit as well. So I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I definitely got called a few slurs for playing The Sims.
Oh, beautiful. Um, for me, it'd be a game called Hellpoint.
Hellpoint?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is, I don't think.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected you to. It was made by a very, very small studio, and it is also a Souls-like. And I don't know what it is. I get more excited from bad Souls-likes than I do from actual Miyazaki Souls-likes because they try like I know I gave flack for the new Lords of the Fallen for trying new things, but that felt like forced, very
Hmm.
forced and very like mainstream trying to appeal to things. Hellpoint is so bad. It's so whack. In its combat, it's so stiff. But oh my God, like it's just so stupidly fun, and it has such an interesting premise. You're on a space station orbiting a black hole, and that dictates what happens as you're exploring. It's not just like you're going out, like you will find unique enemies when it's like midnight. And then you go back to, if you go there at 3 in the morning, that area is completely sealed off because it doesn't exist and stuff like that. So it had
Yeah.
really, really cool and interesting premises. And yeah, it's a bad
Is it
game, but
like
I
is
love it.
it's just commonly
It
that's just a
didn't sell
commonly
it.
known thing?
No one even knows it exists.
Oh
It's
wow.
just when it got a tiny bit of traction and people smacked it down with like a rolled up newspaper and was like, "Don't you dare even put your name near it." And it's just, oh come on, man, Hellpoint's fun
That's funny. Yeah, it's
because
sitting at a 64.
it came out in the same window as Mortal Shell, and because
Mm,
Mortal Shell was polished and looked more AAA, that got all of the spotlight. Whereas I was just sitting there like, oh, fuck Mortal Shell, Hellpoint is dope.
that's sick.
So
Yeah, it's sitting at 64 on Metacritic, so definitely not
I love
beloved.
bad games. What can I say?
Hell, shit, dude. Alpha Protocol I could kind of throw in there, I guess, as well. That would somewhat fit. But now we move on to our final topic or our final whatever poll. What the fuck ever I'm trying to say here. Tons of hours played. I guess a game that you've just played the most, or one
Do
of the
you have
games.
this? You don't have the statistic though, do you? Probably. Or
No,
do
because
you?
mine's from a child when I was a kid. They didn't track that shit back in the day. You
Oh,
have the
I do.
stat on yours?
Oh, I do.
What's yours?
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege.
Ooh, what's the hour count?
What? It'll be fun. What do you think? What do you think? Like how many I pumped into that?
So I'm thinking about,
It came out in 2015, and I was an early adopter. I got into the early alpha, beta.
Rocket League. I assume that
Hmm.
had to be up there. And if it's more than Rocket League,
Yep.
the shorter matches though, that kind of I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna give you my thought process. So for me, NBA 2K is probably my most played game, but they come out every year. So I can't like I don't know I can't do the full series. So I didn't pick NBA 2K. I picked a specific game, but I know that I have a couple 2K games that I've logged over 1,000 hours into.
I can throw you a bone. It's Rocket League is fourth place with 621 hours played.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, okay. We're okay. So I'm gonna say, all right, came out in 2015. If I played 1,000 hours of NBA 2K14, and that was probably in like a year and a half time span, whatever.
I don't play it anymore, but
Okay.
I should say like
How long
it
did you
was
play it?
2015, and then we kind of fell off at probably about 2019. So a 4 year period.
4 years. I'm gonna
We played the
say
shit out of it
I'm
though
gonna say
as well.
4,000.
Oh, oh, no, thankfully not. Oh my God. No, 1,841.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. Um,
And the thing is, right, is Gwen is second place, and you're talking that had a 1 year, 1.5 year life cycle, and I put 1,200 hours into Gwen. If Gwen was still around, I would, yeah, I would be a thrall to it. That would probably be like 7,000, 8,000 hours.
how the fuck did I play 1,000 hours of NBA 2K? That doesn't. Well, okay, never mind. Totally get it because fucking we have like 70 people playing it at all times. I guess that does, and we were all playing it at my house on that console, so I guess it does add up in a year's time because it's like that doesn't even seem like mathematically possible. But okay, now that makes sense. So
I
yeah,
live, breathe math.
I was way overshooting on your because you're one individual person. Okay, get it. That's why I went way too high with my 4,000 prediction there. So
I mean, I
1,008.
could, if I was playing it still to this day in that rate, it would have been, yeah,
Right, right.
that would have been right on par.
So you're 1,800, right? For
Yeah.
Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know my hour count, so that's a bummer. I No, I would have to log into the PlayStation to see what the highest hour count is on there for the 2K. Anyways, I'll just go off the top of my head here. What I would assume the most played game of my lifetime, I would assume Grand Theft Auto San Andreas in terms of hours. I would assume. If you go for an individual game, if you go full like series of games, it's NBA 2K by like it's not even close.
I think that you're wrong in that. And I say that because when me and my friend discussed this before, and he was like adamant that Borderlands 2 was going to be a game that was on his top list, and it didn't even come close. It anything like sport multiplayer and stuff like that, and you just think of how many hours you pour in, and you just don't even think about it because it's not a story that you're getting to the end of a completion kind of thing. It's just a constant rotating wheel. So I reckon it would be one of the sports games for you. But
But
that I
they
could
come out
be
every
maybe
year. That's the only thing is we would buy them every single year, a new one. So if it was a
For the
series
ones
for
that you went,
sure,
for the ones that you went back to though, something like a WWE where you just constantly you're racking up hours and hours and hours year on year. Like you play the shit out of it, and then you're still pumping time into it as time goes on.
that's not a bad idea or not a bad point. Like SmackDown versus Raw 06, that one. But see, that's yeah, actually that might be it. It might be SVR 06. It's such a bummer that there was nothing to really keep track of that back then because like those are the hours I'm the most curious about because like my adult hours, there's nothing that interesting. Like my most played game of the
It's
last
Harold Halliburton, snail's pace.
really, right? No, I mean, dude, if you look at my hours played on that, you will laugh your ass off. It says like 3 days or some shit because I fell asleep and the game was just running, and I guess it added up that time. No, every episode can't be a shot at Harold Halibut. I do think the game's interesting, but it is like I really fell
I
asleep
can't
playing it.
help it. Oh,
Um, I'm gonna go San Andreas. I'm gonna throw it on there. I really don't know on this one. The only reason I would say San Andreas over SVR 06 is because SVR 07 it had the similar GM mode and it was like, pick one, pick the other, whatever, like whatever disc is available to just throw in real quick. It, so I would go San Andreas because that game we played up until Grand Theft Auto 4, played Grand Theft Auto 4 and went right back to San Andreas. Like it didn't, GTA 4 just I like GTA 4. It just did not even come close, in my opinion, of what San Andreas offered with just the variety, the simulation. Because like there would be days where we would just, it was kind of a multiplayer experience where we would just pass the controller back, getting our
mm,
wanted level all the way up, taking tanks out and, getting the jetpack and going to Vegas and like doing a full day lifting weights and eating and shit. So I'm gonna go San Andreas, but I hate that I don't have like an accurate read on it. If I can go full series, it's NBA 2K, and it's like it's this whatever's number two is probably like 4 or 5 thousand hours less than NBA 2K, and not
I think
even
it's a
joking.
series mode, probably Battlefield. I think.
Yeah, those
Mm,
yearly games, man,
mm.
for sure.
Whew, what a list.
That is a wrap, my people. That's a big ass video, couple big videos back to back here today. Getting it done, cranking them out, getting it ready for you good people at home. So I hope y'all enjoy this. And yeah, go check out our podcast as well. Our full sort of this is pretty much a podcast as well at this point, but our full in-depth discussion, reviewing games, discussing the news, all of that good shit. Everything is available. No shit, everything's available. That's kind of how this works. But yeah, appreciate you, Loon. This was a fucking blast, dude. And I'll try to definitely for the next topic we pick. Maybe I'll try to come up with something that doesn't have 18 fucking categories that we're picking between.
No, man, these are great. These are great.
So, yeah. Appreciate you guys. We shall see you good people in the next episode. Goodbye.
See you later.